So after that, I had an appointment. I made an appointment with a wonderful woman named Christina. She is a psychic medium, and at the time she was giving Reiki. I don't know if she gives Reiki anymore, however, but at that time she was. So I had Reiki with her. It was my first Reiki session I had ever had at the time. And as I was laying down, Christina said, she said, you know, I'm going to put, these different types of crystals around you. She was explaining how selenite is very good for cleansing. So she was helping me cleanse, and she had a purple, I believe it was either amethyst or fluorite, on my third eye, and she, was placing the different crystals around and seeing where my energy was and helping me align. And she had asked if I had had some stomach upset, which I had been having for a little while. And she said, okay, I'm going to try and help you with that. So I was very happy. And as she proceeded into it, she said, I wanted to let you know that sometimes I call upon the goddess Freya to come and just help us with the healing, okay? And I was like, okay. And she said, never mind. Goddess Isis has come and said, that is my child. She is my child. I'm the one that's going to be here. I was like, oh, okay then. That makes sense, And she said, yes, she has made it a point. She is the one that's going to be doing your healing today. And the way she corrected her was so quick, you know. She is my child. I'll be the one who's here. And Christina was like, all right, very well. So she said, Goddess Isis at the time, because I wasn't familiar with her true name, she said, she's got her wings around you, like over you, as if she's kind of doing this with her wings out. She said, she has you surrounded in a pink light. She said, do you like the color pink? And in one of the meditations that I had had with her from her oracle deck, one of the meditations has to do with rose quartz, which is a beautiful, soft pink crystal. It's one of my favorites. And I said, I do like the color pink. And I immediately said rose quartz because I remember that meditation that I had had with her. And that meditation's all about love, all about love. So she was literally surrounding me with her love. And she said that Goddess Aset said, you represent purity. And as long as you remember you don't need your knees, because I'm disabled, I actually have a disability with my joints. It's a rare genetic disorder called Ehlers-Danlos syndrome. I have a little bit of classic mixed with mostly hypermobility. She said, as long as you remember you don't need your knees, I will strengthen them for you. So I was very happy to hear that. And then she said, this is coming from Christina, who's listening to her. She said, you float. You don't walk, you float. And it made sense to me because of all the dreams I had had with her and the few dreams that I had had where I had had wings, that she had showed me having wings. So it kind of made sense to me. It resonated with me. And I told Christina that I said, that's amazing, because in her dreams and some of the meditations with me, I have wings. So it was eye-opening, and it was a wonderful experience. And I'm very grateful for it. After that, I decided I was going to make her an altar, and I did. And I found a beautiful statue that's done with kind of a gold coloring of her sitting with her wings out and the sun disk on her head, as I would see her in my meditations and in my dreams. And I drew a picture of her as I saw her. And if I can find that picture, I'll put it up. But I just became so much closer to her as time went on. We became so close. And it started to happen where, when I meditated, I would start to see, as if my eyes were open and I was staring at it, pond fronds. Just pond fronds, thick pond fronds in front of my face, like an aerial shot looking directly down, like on just pond fronds. And it would be clear, crystal clear, especially when I meditated in like direct sunlight. It would be crystal clear and mixed with clouds of purple. And I didn't know what I was seeing, but I wanted to see more. I wanted to see past the pond fronds. I was thinking to myself, beautiful pond fronds, can I see more? But to this day, I only see the pond fronds, and there's a reason for that. I'm not ready for moving past that yet. In the beginning, I asked her, I said, what am I saying? Because each time I'm meditating, it's almost instantaneous. I will see these pond fronds. And I remember meditating, and I remember asking her, is this a place on earth? Because I lived in Mississippi at the time. And I thought, well, could be a swamp or something here that has pond fronds. And she said, no. And I said, okay. Is it a temple? She said, yes. And I said, is it not here, as in not here on this earth? And she said, that is correct. And then I was really surprised, because now I really wanted to know what I was looking at. And I said, have I been to this temple? And she said, yes. And something clicked in my head. And I knew that this was something from like my origins. This was something from my origins. Somewhere that my soul originated. And when I asked her if this was where my soul came from, she said yes. So I have not been able to lift my gaze from seeing that yet, but it is clear as day, and I know now that that's where my soul originated from. wherever that is. And that's why I am continually brought back to it until I reach a point of understanding where I can move on. So I was having wonderful experiences with her. And at this time, I was working as a contractor, and there was a position open that would offer better, for the same contracting company, but would offer, I'm sorry, it was for a different contracting company, but had better, they took better care of their people. So I was praying about it. I was praying about this position. And my mother, Goddess Aset, she had me start pulling this card. It said new career card. And I said, am I going to get a new job? Am I going to get a better job? And she, when I would meditate with her, she would be encouraging. And I believed, I had faith. It was really hard, but I had faith. I made my resume out and placed it, and I did my best. And all of a sudden, I received a phone call one day while I was at work on my cell phone. And I was thankfully in a moment of a lull, and I went into the back and I picked it up and I introduced myself, hello. And the woman on the other end was the woman who was in charge of receiving my resume. So I was very happy. She said, "Hey, we got your resume for this position. We heard you're in the same building. So, give me your experience on administrative personnel type of work." And I laid out everything that I had been doing thus far, and had that conversation with her. And she said, "Well, you're pretty much exactly what we need. So just I'm going to send you some paperwork and we'll get it signed, and then you let me know when you're ready to work." I got the job. I got the job. So I was so happy. I was ready for that change. And so I was so glad because I remembered the cards that my mother, Goddess Aset, had pulled for me, that new career card. And I thanked her so much, and I couldn't believe it. This was the first time I had seen something like that come to fruition. And I was very, very happy. So she was helping me and she guided me into that new position, and I was very, very happy. She helped me release self-doubt. She helped me with that meditation. She basically said, "Give me all of your doubt. Give it to me." And she would put it into a little ball and she would throw it into the sun. And she said, "We will do this as many times as we need." She would also direct me to another card within the Isis Oracle deck that had to do with Goddess Sekhmet and self-doubt. She did that a couple of times. One time I knew she was going to do it because I had had a rough time with believing in myself and how I felt and what I was feeling during meditations, what I was seeing. And she gave me that card to go see Goddess Sekhmet. But Goddess Sekhmet I will bring up in a different video series. So she helped me with that. And in many cases, with Goddess Aset, she helps many people find peace with their mother, or come to peace with their mother or strengthen the relationship they have with their mother. And so in the beginning, she was encouraging me. She encouraged me. She said, firstly, forgive her and give her the chance to understand your emotions and to make things right. So I did. I forgave her. I let those emotions go as much as I could, and I tried to become more open. And every time almost everything she would say to me was a Bible verse. So it was hard to understand whether or not you were really talking to her. And so she would just continually, give me the Bible verses and, their readings and things like that. So it was hard to see a mother in that, I guess, because you don't know who you're talking to, because you're talking to a book all the time. And I'm not saying that, again, having strong faith in religion, I'm not saying that's a bad thing, but it really it cut off the connection that she could have had with her children, because she stopped being a mother and she just became a tape recorder. And it's almost as if she could not see that. So it made it very difficult. But I put it behind me and I tried. I really did. I wanted her to understand my perspective. And I also wanted to exercise my faith that I had been learning from Goddess Aset, to love and to let go and to respect other people's religious beliefs or faiths. That's their journey. So I did. I tried very hard. And it got to the point where I could not make things more plain for her to understand. And the behaviors that she was showing to me, they were not respectful. And finally, my Holy Mother, my mother, Goddess Aset, she said, don't be vengeful. Let it go. Walk away. Just leave it behind you. It's not serving your highest good. It's not serving anything. It brings you down. So just walk away. Just release yourself. Release it in peace and let it go. Because she knew I was trying. She saw the heartbreak that it caused in me, even though I tried. So I gave it my best shot in that. And I had been through a lot already, so I gave it my best shot. So she just let me know, let it go. So she helped me clear my chakras. She helped me to meditate with, really help focus on that root chakra, to heal that, because so much of it had been damaged. She helped me grow. She helped me appreciate myself. She gave me my self-esteem back, and it was beautiful. She helped me understand, and she never hid any kind of. A lot of times when I was growing up, I was very accustomed to, when I would ask a question that seemed way out there, it would be the answer of, "Sweetie, sometimes it's better off just not knowing. It's not important." But to me, they were important. Like, why, if the Earth is only, this many years old, Can we see the light from the galaxies that are, millions of light years away? How did the light reach here if it hasn't been long enough for it to reach here yet? Sweetie, those types of questions, they're not good for you. But isn't it kind of important? So these are the questions that would get turned down, shut down very quickly. So it left a lot of questions in my head. One thing I always loved about Goddess Aset, she's never done that. She's never done that. If I had a question about an event or something that I learned about, or questioned in the Bible or whatnot, she would answer me. She would answer me. She never withheld truth. She would always answer. And I really appreciated that, because it opened up a whole new world for me. Because then I started doing research and finding out so many things. And I was very, very glad. Because the one thing she always taught me was, don't be afraid. Stand rooted. Do not be afraid. Believe in yourself. And that took a lot of work for me, because that whole part of me was squished flatter than a pancake. So it took a lot. She helped me with a lot of that. She also helped me a lot with magic. I had never said a spell before. I had never done anything like that. And she began directing me toward being interested in magic. I would watch documentaries about ancient Egyptian spells and magic, and I realized how powerful they were. And she began to, inspire that curiosity within me. And I began becoming interested in magic and spells and blessings. I love blessings. I love giving blessings. And she explained what, curses were and things like that. I was very focused on exploring magic. And as I learned more about her, I discovered why. It's because she herself is a goddess of magic. And I understood then why she was directing me. So I began to understand more about spells and spell work and magic. And she said something very specific to me. She said, the words that you speak are more important than the ceremony that you give. The intention in your heart when you speak those words is the fire, that catalyst of your spell. And so I remembered that. She had always told me the spoken word was most powerful. And when I did a little research on ancient Egyptian magic, they believed that the spoken word was the most powerful when you did a spell. The spoken word was very, very powerful for them. So it kind of made sense that she had told me that. So I did more spell work, as I mentioned, and for example, in one case, after I said a spell, I made sure that all of my verses rhymed. In Egyptian magic, the verses rhyme, and all of mine rhymed. And I lit the candle. I had herbs with it and oils, and I said the spell. And afterward, I sat by the candle and I let it burn. And I went and I looked at the little candle and it was the cleanest burn I had ever seen in a candle. And I said, that spell went very well. It was a good spell. It was one for me. And I remember going, pulling the oracle deck, her oracle deck, and asking for a sign to let me know how the spell went. And I shuffled the cards, and the card that I can't remember if it popped out all by itself. I believe it did. It popped out, and it was the Blessings of the Empress of Heaven card. And I said, that's a sign. The card, or the spell went very well. The candle burnt clean, and the card there was just an extra confirmation from her saying, well done, well done. So I purchased a sistrum, which is an item that is almost like a rattle, and priestesses would use it. I blessed it for 20 days on her altar, and it is set for purification, to dispel negative energies. It's a very powerful tool, and its chimes are very sharp. So I did that. I did get a sistrum. I learned in the past that most of my lifetimes as a human, most of my lifetimes were as a priestess, a shrine maiden, I think at one point even a nun. I was always a priestess of some kind. And at one point, I remember I was going back. It was the first time I had gone back in a past life, and I started having images come to my mind after I was in a meditative state, and I had this image come to my mind of a little girl, and she was royalty, and I was watching over her. I was kind of like her protector, her bodyguard. And there was another woman with me, and we were protecting her. And I loved her. She was like my baby girl, but she wasn't mine. She was a princess. And this was all in ancient Egypt. She was a girl, a young girl, a princess who was next in line for the throne. And somebody wanted to stop that. Somebody wanted her dead. And the other woman and myself, we were priestesses, but we were like almost like her guardians. So I remember somebody was trying to kill her, and I was seeing these flashes in my mind as I'm going back. And the other woman took her, grabbed her, and covered her eyes, like just pushed her into her chest and covered her eyes. And we were running, and there was a skinny little hallway, very dimly lit hallway. We were using it to escape. And the hallway got very narrow. And as it got narrow, there were several men coming down that hallway, chasing after us. And only so many of them could get through that little narrow gap. And so I moved through the gap, and the other woman had her in her arms, and she took off. And I told her, get out of here, go, go, go. And so I don't know where it led, but one of the men that approached me, he had a sword. It was a short sword. And he jammed it into my abdomen. And the moment he did that, the picture that I saw The moment he did that, I had this horrible, sharp pain right in my abdomen, right where I saw him stab me. And I leaned over, and I actually kind of came out of that meditation state because I leaned over and I was like, ow! And I was just like telling myself, it's in the past, it's in the past, this isn't now, come back kind of thing. You're here, it's fine. But it hurt really bad. And I was meditating, but I wasn't asleep. I was meditating. I was I was awake. So that shocked me. That shocked me. But I had always been a priestess of some kind. And so what I feel from her is love. And she's been guiding me, definitely guiding me. And she's excited, I believe, that I'm doing well, I think. Doing a good job. So I hope to do better. So that's all for now for Goddess Aset. If you feel drawn to her, don't hesitate. She's an incredible deity to get to know. Very loving. Very, very loving. When she speaks to me, when I hear her voice, it's a very soft, gentle, deep, womanly voice. And it's filled with wisdom. It's filled with love. And I am that much better for having found her, or being led to her, rather, again, for her calling to me ever since I was a little girl, for her calling to me. So grateful. So she never gave up, and she continues never to give up on me. So I'm very, very, very happy. Thank you for joining me tonight. I hope you enjoyed some of my experiences. You may have had some different experiences, and some of these experiences may sound familiar to you. So please feel free to leave comments in the bottom of the video. Leave my Facebook link if you feel like joining me on Facebook. I have a Facebook page under Shasem Raset, and I give daily oracle card readings and little inspirational quotes just to kind of help us through the day. So it's all designed, it's made for those who wish to read. If you have any questions, let me know and I'll do my best to answer them for you. So I appreciate your time, and blessings to you. Thank you for joining me, and have a very good night.